Hello, Serendipitous here with another video for the board game shelf, and yep, here we are, Gloomhaven. So to give you a kind of a sense for like the scale of this game, I've raised the camera up, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but yeah, this box is absolutely enormous and quite heavy. So here, let me bring out like maybe a Pokemon card for reference would help or something like that, but essentially, let's see, it's probably about like 2.5 Pokemon cards tall, and yeah, so this is one of the biggest board game boxes we have. If you've heard of Gloomhaven, you know exactly why. If you have not heard of Gloomhaven, let me briefly explain. This is, for a long time, Gloomhaven was like one of the top-rated board games among board game enthusiasts on the website Board Game Geek. Right now, it has been topped by Brass Birmingham, but it's still very, very high up there. I'm trying to open this here. Essentially, Gloomhaven is a dungeon crawling legacy game. All right, so dungeon crawling, where you have tiles and you have your miniatures going around in a dungeon, and legacy in that it's an adventure that you go on, and you change various board game components and so forth. Here is the map for Gloomhaven. I try to show you. Oh, there we go. You can see we've been putting a bunch of stickers on it. Anytime we put on a sticker, that means that a dungeon is available for us to explore. That's a different scenario. We also put stickers at the top that signify different things that have happened in our adventure. So my wife and I, we've been playing. This is my wife. This is a game the game that my wife and I have been playing. It's definitely so one dungeon. Let's see. You start like around here. Yeah, is the first one. I think is about. Is that number one? Where is it? No, oh, here it is. Number one, Black Barrow, right there. So one dungeon will probably take you about, I don't know, it could take you like 20, 30 minutes to play it. It's very much turn-based. But the setup also takes up a lot of time as well. And so in one game session, in one game night, if you imagine a game night taking 2 hours, my wife and I usually play like maybe about 2 scenarios per game night. So you can imagine, and there's almost 100 scenarios in this whole game. You don't even play through all of them because some scenarios lead to others, and you have different choices, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's insane. Here are the various tiles, sort of like these cardboard tiles of various shapes and sizes. Oh boy. Yeah, this is not. I'm probably not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show all the various components to you guys. If you really want to know more about the specifics of Gloomhaven, there are lots of videos that talk about it, and there are content creators that devote their content to Gloomhaven. My wife and I, in particular, we got this. So these sort of like wooden boxes do not come with Gloomhaven. That was a storage solution that my wife and I purchased separately to help organize our game a lot more. But yeah, so we got a bunch of yeah, there are a lot, and we use, we got damage tokens, status effects, treasure, various like monsters and and enemies and so forth. It's a lot, but okay. So one of the things that I loved I need to definitely need to use some hot glue to contain these things, but I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out later. But it does help to organize everything, so I do appreciate it for that. Anyway, what I especially love and appreciate about this game, what my favorite part about Gloomhaven is this right here. So these are different characters, different character classes, I should say. And so at the beginning of the game, 6 of these character classes are unlocked, available for you to play. So you can choose one of them. But then as you go through the game, you're going to unlock other character classes, right? Let's see. I think the beginner ones have kind of been mixed up around in here. But yeah, so we got this dagger one, which is the scoundrel, the spellweaver, um, the mind thief, the cragheart, the brute, and the tinkerer. Those are the starting classes. Then you've got a bunch more. My wife and I, we know what all of these like hidden classes are now. Like we've opened pretty much all of these, and these are arranged this way because these are the classes that the two of us are currently like, you know, in the current campaign that we're on. We also have an expansion called Forgotten Circles, which has this. But yeah, I just love that idea of like, you know, you're unlocking these classes and discovering new ways to play, new characters, really. And I think that's really cool. And you can imagine that I'm especially excited about like, you know, I mean, if you know me, I love things like, you know, bards and bards, musicians using magic, like magical song and things like that. So I was very excited about that one that has a music note and stuff. That's a really cool class. I'm not so. In general, when fans of Gloomhaven talk about Gloomhaven, there's kind of this convention, this kind of accepted etiquette, if you will, that you don't reveal what the hidden or unlockable classes are without some kind of spoiler warning. So if you really want to know what all of these classes are, it is very easy. You can easily look that up on the internet. But if you do plan on ever playing Gloomhaven, I do think that discovering these for yourself is very much preferred, because I've loved discovering all of these myself. But I will say, these classes are fantastic. They're very, very creative. Even normal ones like the Brute, or I guess it's going to be called the Bruiser in a future edition. Even that, it sounds like it's like some sort of warrior or tank or whatever. And yeah, that's true. But it feels a bit different. It doesn't feel like like the Spellweaver doesn't feel like a normal like standard wizard. And maybe that's also kind of maybe the reason for that is also kind of how it plays basically. Here, actually, to kind of explain how the game plays, I'll also show you something in here if I can grab one of these. So yeah, so these are these envelope, these boxes, and you have various. Oh wow, clearly neither of us have played Brute at all. So these are what the cards look like. All right, and this is one of the beginning classes, so I have no problem showing you this. But this is what you have a bunch of cards that look like this. There's a top half and a bottom half. And so when you're in a dungeon or something, and you're on your turn, you get to choose two cards that are in your hand, and you have a deck of cards and stuff like that. And the size of your deck, they're all in your hand. The size of your hand depends on the character. Beefier characters usually get more cards in their hand and stuff like that. But on each of your turns, you're going to choose two cards, and you're going to use the top action of one card and the bottom action of another, right? So, for example, if you wanted to use this trample card, you can, when you play it, you can either attack for 3 damage, pierce 2, meaning you can pierce through 2 amounts of shield, or you could move 4 and jump, meaning you move over any hazardous terrain or enemies. And then after that, you attack for 2 damage, targeting all enemies that you move through with the move. And you gain 2 experience. And also, some more powerful abilities like this, so normally when you play a card, you discard it. But if you play a card with this symbol, that means you've lost it, you've burned it, meaning that you can't play it for the rest of the scenario. And every time you run out of cards in your hand, you have to take a short or long rest, and you burn one of the cards that you have in your discard pile, and you put all the rest of the cards in your hand. And so basically throughout the whole game, you're going to have fewer and fewer cards, because every time you rest, you're going to lose a card. And anytime you use a powerful effect, you lose a card. By the way, if you use this card, the top action part of it, you do not lose it. It's only if you use the bottom action of this card that you burn the card, essentially. But yeah, over the course of the scenario, you're going to have fewer and fewer cards and fewer options. So not only would you lose if you reach 0 hit points, but you'd also lose or become exhausted if you ran out of cards as well. Now, if you lose a scenario, like, running out of cards or reaching 0 hit points or whatever, you don't lose the game. It's just that you either need to play that scenario again or try something else, essentially. And you do get experience and gold as you play through the various scenarios and so forth. So you level up to level 9, and there are a lot of other secrets that you sort of unlock throughout the course of the game. Man, I hesitate to show like the rest of this just because everything is just like packed so neatly, and I'd rather not like unpack this unless like we're actually playing. But yeah, just a lot more tokens and things that like door tokens and terrain tokens that you put on top of these things. And then, And then also, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of cards that represent various events, various items, and so on and so forth. This thing is just massive, right? So yeah, and now Gloomhaven might be one of the first, wildly successful, like huge board games to have and there's a miniature, by the way, for each character, and those are kept in separate little boxes as well. So not only do you unlock a character, like a character box, but you also unlock a miniature as well. There's a miniature box, probably about like a square, probably about this size and this long. And yeah, you get to open the miniature for that and see what they look like, which is really cool. But yeah, so Gloomhaven, this is an older game. I think back in like older in terms of newer board games and stuff. This has been around for quite a while, probably like 6 or 7 years or something like that. And there certainly are lots of other miniatures, huge dungeon crawling board games with miniatures that exist as well. But I think Gloomhaven was, as far as I know, one of the first of its kind to be fully successful. And it's got a really cool world that I personally love as well. Like, I love the lore of Gloomhaven. Those are the images of all the starting classes, by the way. You've got the Scoundrel, the Tinkerer, the Spellweaver, the Brute, the Cragheart, and the Mind Thief. And you got lore for the different species as well. Human, Quattrol, Savas, Vermling, Inox, Orchid. Yeah, that's and there's a few other like species and things like that, and there's really, really cool things going on here. So yeah, my wife and I, we have this, we have Gloomhaven here, and we also, there was recently a not a Kickstarter, a backer kit, like a crowdfunding campaign in 2023, where it was a huge one, where not only the people behind Gloomhaven, Cephalofair Games, they wanted to basically redo Gloomhaven, make a second edition that was totally revamped and like sort of rebalance the classes and everything, because they have another game called Frosthaven that is much better and like more cohesive than Gloomhaven, and it's also bigger. I'll show that in a different video. But yeah, there's going to be Gloomhaven second edition, and my wife and I ordered that. There's going to be a Gloomhaven tabletop role-playing game, and we ordered that as well. We're very excited about those things. So yeah, this game is not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's not like it is. I mean that it's difficult. It's a challenging game, and it's also very challenging to just kind of like handle, because there's so many pieces. It just takes up the entire table. It's hard to set up and take down. What got me into Gloomhaven, though, there is a digital edition of Gloomhaven available on Steam and on console and so forth, and it does a fantastic job of. It introduced me to Gloomhaven. I bought this box is like over $100, like $120 or something like that. But Gloomhaven Digital Edition is like $30 or $35 or something like that. So that is so the digital version, if you're like at all interested in Gloomhaven, I would recommend playing the digital version first. It is possible to play multiplayer with the digital edition. And yeah, that is a really good introduction to Gloomhaven. And then if you're interested even more, then yeah, by all means. But yeah, personally, my wife and I love Gloomhaven, and for the next few board game videos, you will see just how much we love Gloomhaven. We have so much Gloomhaven stuff, and we've only played through some of it. We have played through a lot though. Like we've completed. So here my wife and I, we have completed the main story of Gloomhaven. There's some scenarios we have not played through yet, but we've completed the main story. Like, if this were a video game, we've reached the credits essentially. We beat the final boss of it, of this particular game right here. But yeah. I should also mention as well. So there is a. And again, I'm sort of like teasing some spoiler stuff here. This is not fully spoilers, but there is one of the many components. There's also some puzzles and stuff here in Gloomhaven. There's like envelope A, envelope B, and envelope X. Envelope A and B, you see in the rulebook there are some. The rulebook is huge, by the way, like 50, 60 pages or something. There are requirements for opening envelope A and B, but envelope X you don't quite understand. Basically, you don't really open anything in Gloomhaven or in Legacy games unless you're told to. My wife and I did discover what envelope X is, and we have the envelope X reward here. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but basically we ordered the physical version of it here. And I believe, and honestly, the envelope X puzzles is very, very obtuse. Like, my wife and I did have to look up a couple of little answers here and there to try to figure a couple of things out, admittedly. So I believe that in the second edition of Gloomhaven, that will be a bit better. Just everything will just be better, the writing, the balance, and everything. But yeah, Gloomhaven, my wife and I are fans. That shows how hardcore we are with our board gaming. So the next few videos are going to show all the Gloomhaven stuff we have, and I'll also talk a little bit more about the stuff that we're excited to get from that crowdfunding campaign as well. So, but yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, all the best.